Welcome to the Via Stoica podcast. My name is Benny. I'm your host for today, and this is a Stoic Quotes episode where we're going to look at a Stoic quote by Marcus Aurelius from the Meditations. I'm using the Gregory Hayes translation. And before I start off, if you want to like this podcast, if you like what you're listening and you want to help us out, leave a thumbs up, like it, give us a rating, and leave us a comment if you want to know more about certain specific topics or have some other views on these quotes or the other regular episodes. Let us know. And if you're struggling with any of this, you can always go to viastoica.com to book a free consultation and talk with any of our coaches. And you can find many, many more quotes on the website, some reflections on them, and some practices on how to use Stoicism to your benefit in your life. But we've already spoken a little bit too much, and we're going to go right into the quote right now. This is from Meditations, book 2.1. It's not the famous part where you say, when you wake up in the morning, tell yourself the people I will deal with today. This is a little bit beyond that in that same section, but we're going to go right into, and he starts with, no one can implicate me in ugliness, nor can I feel angry at my relative or hate him. We were born to work together, like feet, hands, and eyes, like two rows of teeth, upper and lower. To obstruct each other is unnatural. To feel anger at someone, to turn your back on him, these are obstructions. Now there's two parts in this. First, that first sentence, no one can implicate me in ugliness. Again, we look at Epictetus. Epictetus talks about we can only, we got to determine what is up to us and what isn't up to us. What is up to us are my own actions, my judgments, my opinions. No one else has the power to make me change those things. As long as I stay with virtue and with living in accordance with nature, those real tenets, when I use my reason and logic, no one can make me do anything else than what I should be doing, right? No one can make me make the amoral choice. That's always up to me. That's always my responsibility. If I do make certain mistakes, and this happens, right? But if I make mistakes, then I should own them. I should take responsibility on them. I shouldn't say, but this person told me to do this, but this person said this. No, at the end of the day, I always have a choice. Whether I like the consequences, right? Whether that's something that I desire or want to happen, that's a different story. But that's where that struggle comes from, right? A lot of the times our wants and desires, they don't align with what the right thing to do is. Maybe because it's difficult, maybe because that's something that I've been pursuing for such a long time. But then when I see that if I'm doing this, then that's going to cause me to do things that I shouldn't be doing. So that's first of all, right? That responsibility of making the moral choice, of keeping my character and soul correct, is up to me. No one else can do that, right? So no one can implicate me in ugliness. That's all up to me. And then he goes on to say that part that where we all like together, right? One big connection, that sympathy, the interconnectedness. And he compares it to a body, right? And he says, I can't feel angry at my relative or hate him because we are part of the same structure. We are part of nature. And if I were to hate him or her, then I would be hating myself. We are supposed to work together, like hands, like feet, like our eyes, like the teeth, the upper and the lower row, to chew on things, to bite things. We are supposed to work together. We are one. The Stoics talk about cosmopolitanism because we are one, not just humans, but also with nature in general around us. And then he goes along to say, like, obstructing each other is unnatural, right? And this doesn't mean where we talk about the sense of obstruction, where we think about preventing other people from doing something, right? But more we talk about helping them do the right thing, right? We want to instruct them, give them the example, but we want to help them. And this sometimes means obstructing them in a physical sense or with what their actions, where we help them pause and where we help them see what the best thing to do is, sometimes by setting the example. But we are part of each other and we should help each other out, right? But we shouldn't guide them into doing the wrong thing, right? If we don't know what it is, then maybe we shouldn't give advice. Maybe we should withhold and take a step back instead of showing people what to do when we are not even sure, right? And then he goes on, to feel angry and to turn your back on someone. That is also unnatural, right? These are the obstructions. If people are doing bad, and we've got to remember this, that what Socrates says and what people following Socrates really looked into, they said, people they forget about making the moral choice out of ignorance, right? Because they don't know what the right choice is. For them, that might be the moral choice, but they don't know the full picture, right? So if people do a bad thing, if people do things that aren't correct, then we should also cut them some slack. They don't know what the right thing to do is. We should then either, as Marcus Aurelius also says, to teach them, right? Instruct them or endure them or guide them or, and if we start setting the right example, then maybe we can move them in the right way, or we can tell them, or we can also prevent them from doing things that might harm them. That doesn't mean that we're obstructing them. That means that we actually care about them enough to step in, to do those things. And that's really what we do. And we might even obstruct them if we don't step in, right? Because that's not showing that love and care. And that's what sometimes takes courage to step in and to do the right thing. So this quote really has two parts, right? I really wanted to add that first part, that no one can implicate me in ugliness. Because again, that's my own responsibility. My actions, my judgments, my opinions are all up to me. And then we need to remember that we are all big part of one, right? We're all interconnected. We're not just individuals running around or societies that have to fight against other societies. No, we should be working together, making this whole world, making us, the society, the community, everything, when we zoom out, one big unity. And that's really what it is, because at the end of the day, we're also just a really tiny, tiny part in nature itself. We are maybe but a finger in the body when we compare it to nature and the universe, maybe even smaller, maybe just one little micro cell in our skin. And that's really what we got to remember. We've got to work together, and we've got to love each other to the extent that we want to help everybody advance and be better and live better lives. Sometimes that means making difficult decisions. Sometimes that means caring extra for each other, paying attention and being grateful for being with each other. But we shouldn't hate, and we shouldn't become angry at other people. We should then patient, instruct or endure, and make the right moral choice. Do what we are responsible for in that role, to ourselves and to those people around us. Again, if you're struggling with any of this, feel free to reach out. Feel free to connect with us. We are here to help you as well. And look at the people around you. Everybody is there to help you if you find the right people around you. And that's another story for another time about friendship and all those things. But for now, thank you very much for listening. This was a Stoic Quote episodes. We have regular episodes on Tuesday where we have interviews and we talk about specific topics. And these are all about the quotes. If you're looking for more quotes, you can go to viastoica.com, where you have all hundreds of quotes by Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, whomever, and you can find the links to posts and reflections based on those quotes. But for now, thank you very much for listening. Leave a thumbs up, like these episodes, the podcast, give us a good rating, and leave some comments. We really appreciate that. You can also sign up to the Pause, the newsletter that's been sent out monthly. But for now, thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.